Oh my freaking god. The start of this Four Nations tournament with Canada versus Sweden was an absolute banger, and folks, we need to talk about it. Today we're going to be breaking down the insanity that was this first game between Canada versus Sweden, why it matters for both of these countries going forward in this tournament, and why we were all wrong about the Four Nations Faceoff. So make sure you watch till the end as we break down everything here today, and hit that subscribe button if you're new for more Four Nations content just like this all throughout the tournament presented by BetUS. Now before we get to the insanity of the game, I wanted to talk about the face-off MVP odds because we've already seen a ton of changes in that. Connor McDavid before the tournament started out as the MVP frontrunner, but as you guys can see, Sidney Crosby is at plus 450, and there's a very good reason why. He was absolutely electric in that first game, really no signs of slowing down. So if you put $10 down, you could win 45 by the end. And with how good Crosby's played, I think that's a pretty smart prediction. Now, if you want to get started with BetUS to make picks throughout this whole season, just use code YouTube150 and you'll get an 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit at 125% sign-up bonus on your next two up to $2,000. Just use that code, and thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. Now, starting things off with the breakdown here, I just want to give a big shout out to the Bell Center because they were absolutely rocking all night long. The pre-sale ceremony with Mario Lemieux was brilliant. After the game and all the chants for Sidney Crosby, just perfection. And the game itself was absolutely brilliant. When this tournament was first announced, I was a little bit hesitant, a little bit reserved about it, but heading in, I thought the effort level from the players would surprise people, but I didn't even think that it would be this good. Now, unfortunately for Sweden, early in the game, Canada got a power play just 1 minute in, and they really wasted zero time. I want you to take a look at the work here by McDavid and Makar, both of them working off each other excellently. You see McDavid just making some simple plays with Crosby, but look at the backhand there, right to McKinnon. And what a way to start things off. Basically the best start you could imagine for Canada, a tic-tac-toe goal that was beautiful from three guys that we've wanted to see play for each other, with each other for so long now. McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon. Unfair. This period in a lot of ways was unfair. Sweden finishing with just one shot, but the bleeding would continue as Canada goes right up the ice here. An amazing play by Jarvis to collect the pass, point with the speed, and then Marchand the finish. That third line I thought was brilliant all night. Marchand, Point, Jarvis as a bottom six line in general is just simply sensational. Those type of players all together, they all bring a different blend of skill sets, and it already worked pretty early. Now, after having just one shot in that opening frame, I thought Sweden was a lot more complete in the middle, especially Lucas Raymond. I thought had a brilliant second period, working well along the wall. He ultimately sets up the secondary assist that leads to the goal here as Jonas Brodin, through a bunch of bodies, is able to snipe it past Binnington to make it 2-1. But Sid the Kid had other ideas. Dominant all throughout this game, he pushes off Gustav Forsling right to Stone, and it's 3-1 Canada. Gustav Forsling is not an easy defender to rush up against, gain body positioning, and just dominate physically against, but Sidney Crosby, at 37 years old, is still at the cream of the crop, and he displays it right there. Now, Sweden heading into the third period, down 2 goals. It was a tall order for them to come back in this game, but they were able to storm back eventually, and it was all started here 2 minutes into the third period with Erik Karlsson rushing up the middle of the zone, getting a slick pass to Kempe, and he just explodes, going past his teammate in Drew Doughty to snipe it and make it 3-2. I'll say this, I thought Erik Karlsson had an amazing opening game, some of the best hockey I've seen out of him really over the last couple of years, and that setup was perfect to Kempe, right where he needed to make things happen. And a few minutes later, Sweden would continue to put on the pressure. I absolutely love Lucas Raymond in this game so much, man. Right off the opening faceoff, look how he's able to get that body positioning, get past the opposition in Morrissey, get a perfect pass to Brott, and then he's able to find Joel Erikssonek for the tap in. I mean, Brott and Raymond together are two dynamic forces out there, but Raymond and what he was able to do out there on that shift really started that goal and made it so pretty in the first place. Now, with 9 minutes to go, the pressure wasn't stopping anytime soon. Canada had possession in the Swedish zone, and an absolutely brilliant chance here by Devon Toews as we play it here. It's up to the point, Marner to McDavid, and Toews with the chance of a lifetime, just not able to get any elevation on it, and Gustafsson is able to make the save. This was such a good opportunity, though, saving the game. Unfortunately, the win wouldn't come in the end, but my goodness, what a play, what an opportunity. Gustafsson, though, up to the task. Overtime was absolutely incredible. Great saves by Binnington and Gustafsson. McKinnon tried to play hero multiple times. Crosby with the back pass, though, finds Marner, and he just comes in and rifles it past Gustafsson to win the first game for Canada. It was absolutely electric, man. Seeing the Bell Center rise for a player like Marner was amazing. Seeing him come up with a big goal was awesome too. You had Crosby with his 3rd assist of the night, a storybook ending for the Canadians. And really just a storybook ending for this game in general. It had everything. Intensity, big hits, you had injuries because of hits, you had huge saves, huge goals, huge comebacks, huge overtime plays. Everything was there. It was the best of international hockey wrapped up into one tight bow, and it was amazing to watch. All throughout, really, at the first shift, it felt like the intensity was there from the players, and that's all I wanted to see. I know there were a lot of people that were not really sure what the effort and what the game quality would actually be, but I think this game really showed that everybody is in for a crazy tournament this time around, because what we saw in this first game really featured everything we could possibly ever want. You had McDavid in the first shift really flying out there, flying more than I've seen him fly over the past few weeks for the Oilers. And as we saw in all the post-game and pre-game quotes, really you saw from players like Crosby and McDavid really nailing down how much this does mean to them. They care about putting on the Canadian emblem. They care about their own countries here. Both teams do exceptionally, and especially compared to an Olympics, it might not be as traditional or whatever you want to call it, but especially for a lot of these players like McKinnon, like McDavid, who haven't really gotten the chance to wear that Canadian crest against best on best competition, this is the first time they're able to do so, and you can see, especially for those guys, how much they care. Especially for the players like McDavid, who could have had chance after chance to play against best competition. This is the first time they've really been able to do so playing for Canada, and you could really tell the difference in their play, how much it matters to them, and you got the proof in the pudding throughout this entire game. And it's honestly unfair to even compare this to the NHL All-Star game, but one game into the Four Nations tournament, and it's already something that absolutely clears any All-Star event we have ever had. The intensity is completely different. The excitement is completely different. And sure, I do believe that some of the players enjoy going to the All-Star game sometimes to hang out with their buddies and just shoot the crap out there. But I don't believe that they actually genuinely care about the results. We see that in All-Star games time and time again. They're just boring. The players are obviously not putting 110% in. They're obviously not really even invested in the games themselves or the rewards they get for winning these games. It just doesn't really matter. You can tell, though, the difference in so many of these guys when that crest is worn, when that country's pride is on the line. It's a completely different ball game, and I just love the difference. I am somebody that, as a hockey fan, I've only been watching since we've had these All-Star games. I haven't been able to see an actual Olympics with NHL players that I've been able to watch and actually be invested in. So the fact that we have a best on best tournament here that I can actually be here for, that I can actually watch, that I can actually be invested into every single game, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely amazing, and I wouldn't take it for anything else. In fact, this Four Nations tournament is already making me not want to see a single All-Star game again. I know that if we do it every single year, it might become a little bit of an issue. Maybe it gets a little bit drawn out, but I don't care. It's amazing hockey, and I want to see more of it. What we'll likely see is every other year an Olympics or a Four Nations tournament, which it's fine. But I just have a feeling that by the time that next year's All-Star game is rolling around and I'm actually having to watch it, I'll just be like, can we get to the Four Nations tournament already? Can we get to the Olympics already? Jeez. Now, the nice thing for us is that there is the Olympics next season, so we won't have an All-Star game for 2 years. Thank you, hockey gods. I appreciate that. But I feel like by the time the 2027 All-Star game rolls around, it's going to be like, well, Four Nations tournament, we do not care about this. Give me some games that actually matter. I don't want to see Nathan McKinnon out there in a 3-on-3 for Team Central Division, just skating out there and trying to pass back to his knee. Come on. Real games, please. I don't know, man. As somebody that has just been forced to watch NHL All-Star weekends and been forced to care about them, it just isn't the same. What we are seeing with this Four Nations tournament, I think, is a revelation, and I think it is something that the NHL is long overdue to have. We saw some quotes recently from Gary Bettman from the NHL saying how they really want to focus on best play, how they made a mistake here with the last 10 years, and how they really want to reset this calendar, make it at least every other couple of years, where these players are able to play against the best competition. And that's how it should be. These guys should have gotten the opportunity a long time ago to actually play in this type of level, and I'm glad it's finally happening. I mean, the fact that Connor McDavid is this old already and it's the first time he's really able to do this is a shame, and it's great to see it finally happening. If you want to call this tournament Mickey Mouse, if you want to talk about it not mattering at all, you can go right ahead. To the players, very obviously, this tournament matters. This tournament is something that they've wanted to have happen, and you could tell by the quality of play. This is something that I think we've all wanted to see. We all wanted to see that in type of intensity, and we are seeing it. The fact that we actually get games that feel like they matter during the All-Star break during this week is just a breath of complete fresh air. Now, going on to Canada and what this means for the rest of the tournament, I wouldn't really be all that concerned personally. I think the main issue for them was just the goaltending. Whittington was a little bit rough out there. But about the defense, played well throughout the most part, though that third period and overtime, there were some rough moments here and there. For the most part, though, I think they played about what I expected them to play. I thought Sweden was an underrated team coming into this tournament. They showed exactly why they were, and they really got going in that second half. I think for the Swedes, especially, keeping that momentum going, getting that center group going, especially, I think is going to be the key for them. Zibanejad and Pettersson, they had, I think Pettersson had his moments in that game, but they need to have more impact from those guys. The goaltending of Ivan Gustafsson was brilliant. The save percentage might not show it, but he had some absolutely amazing saves there. And the defense was kind of all over the place. I love that Forsling and Dahlin pairing. I thought they were great together, especially Dahlin, who had a fantastic performance. Hedman had some rough moments there. Brodin, even with his goal, had some rough moments there. So we'll see how they're able to really transition on that into the rest of the tournament. We'll have to wait and see. It's a work in progress for both of these teams, but so far, great hockey, and that's all I want to see. That's all I care about. Really, for Canada, you ticked all the boxes with players like McDavid, McKinnon, and Crosby really showing up well. I think the big thing for them will be getting more offense from the back end, especially now with the Shea Theodore injury. That's going to complicate things going forward. It's going to give more time to Cale Makar. He really needs to show up big. I thought he was kind of pedestrian for his standards in this game versus Sweden. I hope that doesn't continue for Canada because they are going to really need him, especially for that power play. Before the tournament, I had Canada as the favorites, and I would still have them up that end, though I do think, again, the consistency and the top level here between Sweden, Canada, and the US, they're razor-thin margins. All three of these teams, I think, can be absolutely amazing, so we'll have to see how that shapes up. Poor Finland. We'll see what they do versus the US. It seems like the Finland always is a boogeyman for the US national team, but they're going to be in a tough spot. We'll see if they can pull it out, but that's a work in progress as well. Let me know your thoughts on the Four Nations tournament up to this point, what your thoughts are on that legendary Canada-Sweden game. Let me know all your thoughts down below, and of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Share the video with all the hockey fans you guys know online, and click on this card for all of my, I guess, hockey prospects talk when I win playlist. Might as well go ahead with that. And of course, time to bet US today using code YouTube150. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic hockey day. Drink some water for me, and goodbye.